Hi, my name is Dan, and today I will show you the workflow that I've developed for one of my iEarth projects to produce tutorial videos. This project was about instrumentation that we use in the Arctic to do fieldwork, but of course you can apply this to any other topic. We will be using only free software, and also the hardware is not very expensive. I have 2 studio lights for around $80, a webcam, and a microphone. That's about it. So it might not be up to professional standard, but at least it's still better than what Hollywood put out lately. We will start with a short session on the Open Broadcast Studio OBS, where I will show you how to set up the camera, the studio lights, and the green screen. Then we will have a short session in Blender, where I will show you how to cut the video, and then we will export the audio only to edit it in Audacity. You have probably seen a lot of tutorials where either you just have like some music in the background and there's nobody talking and you really have to like look closely on the screen to not miss a step, or others where the volume is super low, so you have to crank up the volume on your speakers and then all of a sudden like a cat walks by and meows and your speakers explode. So there's a process to normalize the audio, and I will show you how to do that. Then we will re-import the audio into Blender and replace the old audio track. Then we will export it so we have a preliminary version of our video. Then we start a new Blender session, and in that Blender session I will show you how to use a green screen in Blender and other effects, and also how you can add like small animations. And with that, let's start with OBS. So now we're in OBS, and first if you go here on File and then click on Settings, under Output you can choose the path where you want to record to, and you can put here the format that you would like to use. I usually use MP4 and MP3 for my sound because it's widely available for most people. Because I'm recording right now, I cannot change this. And under video, you can change the resolution of your output and also the frame rate. And then here on the left side, you can prepare your scenes. And in each scenes, you can define like which camera do you want to use, which microphone or whatever. And here in this scene, I've activated my microphone, my webcam, and my display. If you double click on each of these elements, it opens up the settings, and there you can change them again. If you want to add them for the first time, there's this little plus button, and then you find here all of the different ones. For video, it's the video capture device. For microphone, it's the audio input. And for your desktop, it's the display capture. But there you can see like there's a lot of different ones. For the microphone, if you click with the right mouse button on it and select filters, you see I have a limiter activated. And the limiter, you see here this bar, and it will stop it at -10 decibels. So if it goes over -10, like in this red area, it will really make the sound bad, and it's really hard to filter that out. So just have that always activated. Sometimes I use noise suppression if I use OBS for like a live broadcast or something like this. But if I make a video like this, I use the noise removal in Audacity. The settings for my camera is also right mouse button and filters. And you see right now I have the Chroma Key activated. That is basically your green screen. And if I deactivate it, you see the green screen appears. And now you would also see that here on the display that I have the green there. And then if you activate it again, you see that it shows the rest of the desktop. And you can use the settings here to fine tune your green screen. So if I move it a bit to the left, you will see like it slowly appears. If I go to the right, it would also like make me disappear. So just find a good setting. It depends mostly on the lights. For the lights, I use 2 studio lights. They're really small. Maybe I can just like get one here quickly. And I set them up in a way that they're like shining a little bit of light on my face, but mainly on the green screen, so that the green screen is well lit and I get the effect the best. These sources are here in order of how they appear on the screen. So if I move, for instance, now the webcam below the display, I would disappear, and vice versa. And if you click on the webcam, for example, you see here this red border appearing. And with this one, you can play around like the size, but also on the positioning of the element. And then the only thing you need to do is press here on start recording. It will record everything. You press stop recording, and then we can continue. Now I will record a short example video to show you the steps in Blender. This is a short example video, and this part I cut out. This is a short example video. So you have seen the difference before and after editing, and this is what I want to show you now in Blender. And in the first step, we will take care of the initial cut and of the audio quality. And if you open a new Blender project, this is the default setting. And to go into the video editor mode, you can go here on File, New, Video Editing, Or alternatively, you go on New, General, and then you can use this little plus here, go to Video Editing, Video Editing. I usually use this setting because I'm quite often utilizing like some of these functions over here. To load the video, you just search it in your files and can drag and drop it here. And now you can see you have two lines here. The blue one is the video and this turquoise one is the audio. And the first thing I would do is click here on display waveform. So you see like when there's like sound happening and when not. That really helps with the cutting. And the second thing is here on this slider. It's in the output properties tab. On the start and end frames, you see here you can slide forth and back. And with this one, I would set it so that you cover the whole video, even though we are cutting out now parts, so the whole thing will be shorter. And then mark both with the shift. You can mark both and can slide this slider here just before you can see someone is talking. And then you mark both, press delete, and you're good. And it's gone. And then you mark those two tracks and move them forward. And you see this little number there on the left side. Just put it to 1, so it's like at the first frame of the video. I left here a small part without the voice, so I can do a noise reduction later on. For that one, I need like the background noise. And then you see here in the video, like this is the part that I would like to delete as well. So you just move it here in the middle roughly. Do again, press the K, press the delete. And then you adjust with this frame rate here to the right frame. And sometimes it can be a bit hard to see. And with the mouse wheel, you can scroll in and out. And then you see it a little bit better. So in this case, I have to adjust by 2. And now I have already the video roughly in the shape where I want it to be. And then I would always save my project. So go to the folder where you want to save it, press on Save As, and the project is saved. One important bit is that you make sure that the video that you're uploading here has the same frame rate as your project. Otherwise, you need to adjust for that. So the next step is we export the audio. For that, you go on Render, Render Audio. Audacity, the program that we use for audio editing, can read flags, so you don't need to change here anything in there. Just like click on the mix down and we're good. And now we are switching to Audacity. So here, this is your Audacity surface. So now I grab this file into Audacity and I will play it now first without any filter. This is a short example video. Then I mark here with my left mouse button. I mark the beginning here of this part. Go to Noise Reduction and get Noise Profile. Then you press Ctrl A to mark the whole track. And then you go on Effect again, Noise Reduction. And with these settings, you apply it and it will reduce the background noise. Now I will play the sound again. This is a short example video. So now that we have the background noise reduced, we will apply two other filters, a compressor and delimiter. Limiter and compressors are used to reduce the dynamical span between like the softest and the loudest sound. And first we will apply the compressor. And please use these settings. Press on OK. So after the compressor, it sounds like this. This is a short example video. And then you apply the limiter with these settings. It's a hard limiter in my case. This is how it sounds after the limiter. This is a short example video. And then we apply a filter curve EQ. This one will boost the voice frequency here in lower frequency and in higher frequencies. And when you open it on yours, make sure that you put it on 6 decibel, roughly to 60 Hertz, then decreasing to 500 Hertz to 0 decibel. And then at 4000 to 5000, you increase it again to 6 decibel. This is like a standard preset that I found that is used generally for voices. Press on OK. This is how it sounds now with the filter curve. This is a short example video. And the final effect we want to apply is Loudness Normalization. Use the settings again, set it to -20 dB and press OK. What the normalization does is that if you have different audio sources, the normalization will put them all on an equal audio level. So you have less of a variation. And if you edit a video like in multiple parts, the user that is using the video, they don't have to adjust their speakers all the time. And the voice is not like sometimes super quiet and then super loud again. And this is how it sounds now with the noise normalization. This is a short example video. And then you click here on File, Export. And I use MP3. It's not the best audio format for high quality, but usually like for videos like this, that is fine. So you find your path again here. And in this case, I call it Edit and click on Save. And it will export it. and then we're done in Audacity and we go back to Blender. So now you see here our audio tracks again, and this is the old track, and I want to hide it. So also when you render the video later on, this will not play. So I press H, and if you want to unhide it, press Alt A. But in this case, we want to keep it hidden because we just edited like the proper sound. And like before, you can just drag and drop it here. Sometimes it appears here with the marker, but sometimes also just here on the left. So you just drag and then drop it like in the right position. And I would use this display waveform again to just check that if you play it now, you can see if the audio matches the video. In case, sometimes it happens if you're playing with different frame rates that all of a sudden after the video editing, something went off and it doesn't work. So let's see if that worked. This is a short example video. Seems like it did. Time to save. And now we want to export this video as a first version before we do any animations or anything like that. So for that, go here to the Output Properties tab and scroll a bit further down. Select here a folder where you want to save it, but you don't have to give it a name tag. That will be done automatically, and it will just give it the starting frame and the end frame, and then you can rename it later. And we want to have an FFmpeg. And for the encoding, we choose an MP4. And then for output quality, I usually use perceptual lossless. And for audio, MP3. With this setting, it's like an okay setting. It's not the best quality, but MP3 and MP4 are great. Like a lot of people can play them in like almost every video player. And then you can save again, so you don't have to do that again in case something happens during the rendering process. And then you click on render animation, and this video will pop up. And because it's like a very short video, that was it already. So let's have a look. Now you see here the video with the frame rates. And I will open it quickly up to check if we have the good result. This is a short example video. Looks fine to me. And in the next step, we will use Blender again to do something with a green screen and add a small animation. Now we are back in Blender, and I will show you how to use the green screen and also how to make a small animation. I'm using a preset here, so I will be replacing all of the parts that I used from the older project. But while doing so, you can just like copy the notes and do exactly the steps that I'm doing. So the first thing is double check your video settings. So I'm using 30 frames per second in my video, and make sure you have the right path, the right video settings, and the audio settings. So basically what we did in the last section. And then, so I will delete here this old track and drag and drop the short example video that we made in here. And you see it's like very short here. So I have to zoom in. And the upper one is the video track, and I'm going to delete it. And for this lower one, I will show the waveform again. And then here, remove the frame slider that it matches the short video. And I will quickly press save. So this is already done. And then in the compositing here, you will have to set up all of these nodes. And usually you just start with the viewer and the composite. And this shows you here the result. When you click on this viewer, with these bars here, you can like increase or decrease the size. And with this little X, you can move it around. With the V, you can zoom out, and Alt V, you can zoom in. And here to get this first node, you go on Shift A, search, and type in image. And you would get an image node, and then you load here the video. I have that here already in the preset. So I will be just selecting the video. And now important is that you have here the frames that you have to enter. How many frames does this video have? And we can see that if we put the slider here in the very back. You see now here's the time. And if you click, for instance, on animation, you would see now it's 56 frames. So if I'm going to my composition, I just tell it 56 frames. And then you can check. So you see already there's my video here. And you see when I'm moving the slider that I'm moving. So this is already set. And then you need this RGB node. Again, Shift A, RGB. So you get this type of node. And here, if you click on this color and you have the color picker, just pick a dark color here in the back on the green screen, and then it will change it a little bit. And then you can adjust this here like this, and now you see the color is gone. The next node is a keying node. It's always the same, Shift A, keying, and you will get to the node, and connect the video to image and the RGB to the key color. And then from the keying, you need a crop node and a transform node. With these two nodes, you can cut and transform and move the image around. So right now you see here the image of me, and then you can use the slider, and you see like you can cut parts off. And with this one, you can cut out like parts of the video if like the green screen didn't work or you just want to have it a bit smaller. And the same is like you can change like the positioning here. I will keep it at this for now. And then you need this alpha node, alpha over, and connect this image in here. And then you need the render layer node and connect the image to image and leave it for now at 0.5. That means it mixes 0.5 of this and 0.5 of this into the final node, and then connect these two nodes to the viewer and to the composite. And here in the scene, make sure that you have the view layer and the scene. We will get to that in a second. So with this setup, you have everything for the green screen. And now we have to look into the animation and also how to set up what you want to animate. So let's go into the layout view. With the default setting, you have a cube here. You can delete that cube and just add like a mesh and a plane. And then for the plane, we will just project a picture on it. And to project it properly, you need to have the right ratio. So if you just take a picture with the right mouse click and check on details, so the ratio is 6:4. So we change here this plane. You will have this small arrow here that you can open. You can also press N. And you want to have 6:4. This is already right. And you see here this black part. This is my camera here. And if you click on this little camera view, you see exactly what the camera would see. And this is what is later projected here in the composition, what comes from this render node. Right now you would see there would be two black stripes. So we just scale this a little bit up, maybe like this. And we will make a small animation that the picture is moving from the left to the right. What we need to do further in this workbench is setting the environment right. So if you click here on the world properties, please select and color a sky texture and use the preterm. So this view is just like the object, so it's very easy on your hardware. If you use the second one, this is for the material preview, but we want to use the last one. This is actually how it looks in the rendered picture. And now we go on this shading viewport. You select your plane and go to new. And then you drag and drop your picture in here and connect the color to the base color. And you see right now we see this part of the camera. And if I click here on composition right now, even if I move the slider around, it wouldn't show the picture as of yet. If you want to see that, you have to click on render image. And now you see that there's the image, but also that the picture of me is very, very hollow. This we can change now here with this factor. And you see I'm going now to full on. So with this, you can control how much overlap you want to have. To make the picture look better, you can play here with the roughness slider. I will leave it now to 1. And sometimes you can use a bit of metallic depending on what picture you want to display. And now we check again how the picture looks. Render image. It's now a clear picture in the background and a clear picture in the foreground. But you see there's this little gap. So let's remove that. And for that, I will use the transform. I will put myself a bit further to the left and a little bit down and check again if the image is good. And then to have an animation, we go back to the layout. And there's two ways how you could do this. You could move the camera or you can move the slide. And usually I use the slide. So I have always the static camera and then I move in and out of the picture what I need. Right now, this is the camera view. And you see here, I have to zoom in because it's a very short video. And I move the slider to the left. So this is my initial position. I click on this here that you have the minus Y here. You can click around to the other side. It's just changing the view axis, but this is the correct one. Press on the camera. So now I see like this is what I'm seeing right now. And then I press G. And with that, you can move it around. Make sure that you're like directly on this axis and not like this, because the G moves you on all 3 axes. But if you're looking like static from one side, it will be only 2. And then we say here with the right mouse click, insert keyframe. So you see here's this little keyframe. And then we go to the last frame. And you see this has switched now to green. And we move this just like, let's say here. And you say insert keyframe. And we're done. And if we look that now in the animation, if you press the space bar,
this is a short example video.
It will go like this. Short example video. This is a short example video. To check that, we can go here now in the composition on keyframe 1 and go to render image. And you see we have here the mountain. And then we go on the last keyframe. And now you see the angle has changed. So we know that it is working. And with that, we can start the rendering process. So click on render animation. And here you see that it's just like rendering out now every image. And then we can check and see if it worked. So you click here on your videos.
This is a short example video. This is a short example video. This is a short example video.
And of course, there's other things that you can animate. So if you go here in the layout and go a bit in this like third dimension, and if you press Shift A, can put in a cube, and right now you would have this cube here, and you could animate this cube, and instead of the cube you could use of course text, pictures, or just model something that you want to have like in the background that is doing something while you're explaining. So in the tutorial videos that I made, I put the animations of the instruments. So I modeled all of these instruments, and then you see them in the background and like always highlighting the part that we are talking about, and or like how to connect something. And with this we are at the end of the video, and I hope you can use this to make your own videos.